welcome to my channel. My name is Martine, and if you are new here, I do videos on Vedic astrology mainly, but also with some tropical insights, and I focus on both relationship and natal astrology. And if you like this video and you would like to see more content from me, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, hit the notifications bell if you want to see when I post a new video. Also comment in the comment section with anything that you would like to share or any feedback you would like to give about the video. Also, if you're interested in a personal consultation, I do consultations on a wide variety of topics. You can check out my video description. I will leave my contact information there. And also, more recently, I have started memberships on this channel. So if you are interested in finding out more about them, I will also leave a video presentation in the video description. So you can go check out that link. All right, and also more recently I started a tarot channel, so last but not least, if you're interested in tarot, you can check out the video description. I will leave my link to my tarot channel, and you can go check it out, maybe subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, so today's topic is going to be a short one on Saturn. And I did say briefly in the previous video that I wanted to talk about Saturn's transit, and I did talk about transits also for all ascendants and all moon signs at the beginning of the year, actually starting last year, and I have posted all of those transits, so I will be linking that playlist as well in the video description. I will try as usual to link all the relevant videos in the video description for those of you who would like to do more research. But I wanted to specifically talk about now Saturn transiting through Shatabhisha Nakshatra, and also a little bit about Saturn's transiting Aquarius in general and what I have noticed so far, and specifically connected to medical astrology. Now, granted, I am personally very impacted by Saturn's transit, so that was also one of the reasons why I probably started paying more attention to these things now, because for me, Saturn right now is transiting in conjunction to multiple planets and therefore conjunction to multiple house lords, and I've started having multiple health problems because of all this. But I'm not going to talk about my full experience here. This is not what the video is about. However, I want to give you the main things that you should pay attention to when you are going through a Saturn transit. Now, granted, Saturn is transiting through Aquarius for everyone. So actually, just unrelated to health problems, on a world scale, Saturn going through Aquarius shows there are going to be more movements towards social reforms. Potentially, there could be even, well, as you have seen actually in the past year, because Saturn has been moving in and out of Aquarius for the past year. It has actually, I think, about roughly half the year or something, or maybe less than half a year, it's spent in Aquarius, a few months, and most of the time it's spent in Capricorn. But now it is in Aquarius, and it's going to stay in Aquarius until 2025. If I'm not mistaken, I think April 2025. So roughly 2 years. That is a long time. And Aquarius rules things like society at large groups of people, also any kind of contained bodies of water like lakes, ponds, fish tanks, anything that is contained, especially artificially created and maintained bodies of water. This is Aquarius. And then it also rules IT, technology. And by the way, I just realized this. I don't know if you've noticed that last year there was a huge wave of layoffs in the IT, sectors. Of course, because of automation, a lot of jobs are being attacked. Also, I was personally affected by that as well. Such fun. It's, this stuff happens if you work in tech or telecommunications. They're constantly, upgrading new forms of, cutting costs and automating things, so jobs get restricted. But, in the past year specifically, it has been a huge wave, and it has affected multiple countries, right, with repeated not repeated. I think towards the end of the year, there was a wave of layoffs, actually. I actually don't remember if it was while Saturn was actually in Aquarius. I would have to check that again. I think it is likely that it wasn't in Aquarius, but in any case, I could get into why Capricorn may have affected that, because Saturn in Capricorn, it would transit the 12th house from Aquarius, and 12th house from Aquarius is about losses, but, you know, and Saturn is about hardship, so you can sort of look at it that way as well. But in any case, both Aquarius and Capricorn are ruled by Saturn, so Saturn is particularly strong in these signs. It was stronger in Capricorn, but it's still strong in Aquarius. So with respect to, you know, the medical aspects that I wanted to talk about, I don't know if you've seen this, increase of anxiety. I mean, obviously we've seen that since 2020 because of the bullshit that has happened. There, I said it. I don't know if I can say BS, but I said BS. And basically a lot of stress, a lot of artificially created problems. Let's not beat around the bush. That's exactly what happened. Global crises upon global crises that, you know, eventually led to a spike in mental issues, anxiety, insomnia, depression, and so on and so forth. And a lot of, when you think about it, it's like Saturn in Aquarius is 12th from the 12th house. And the 12th house, Pisces, I mean, you could think of it as a little bit maybe stretched, but I actually think of it this way, that Pisces is the house of sleep. This is why in Vedic astrology, the 12th house is about bedroom pleasures, quote unquote. It's about bedroom activities. It's about things that are hidden, right? But that includes also sleeping. That's why Pisces is also connected to meditation and the subconscious, collective or personal subconscious. So when Saturn is transiting the 12th, meaning Aquarius, which is the 12th from Pisces, you would expect to see a rise in sleep problems. And I've actually really thought about this because my sleep problems have been going on for a while. And for me personally, even when Saturn was going through Capricorn, it was affecting my health. So basically, I'm going through a cluster fluff of Saturn influences right now. So yeah, anyway, let me not dwell on my personal problems here. But what I have noticed, for instance, in the past, like roughly 6 months especially, is way more talk about sleep problems. Even people that I've known for a long time that never had sleep problems are now looking into, like, you know, meditation techniques and buying, you know, things like over-the-counter medication, herbal remedies to improve their sleep, etc. That's one thing. Another more important thing, and this is especially emphasized now that Saturn is in Shatabhisha, and Saturn reached Shatabhisha roughly around April 1st, and it will stay there until roughly September 1st, the beginning of the September 2023. Remember, I did a video on Saturn Nakshatra, and I said this nakshatra is about suffering. And when you have a malefic like Saturn, which is already, Saturn in itself is a little bit about suffering. It's about creating obstacles. It's about creating delays. It's about creating frustrations. It's about hardships. It's basically about busting everyone's ass, right? Like, sorry for the language, but it's because technically Saturn is about creating things that are thorough, that will stand the test of time. So basically, having Saturn as Shatabhisha, you see a lot of suffering connected to Saturn things. And when you look at it from the medical perspective, what does Saturn rule? Saturn rules the skeleton, the bones in the body. It rules minerals in general, right? Especially when it comes to medical astrology, rules the minerals in the body. So anything that is bone, you know, or just minerals, like maybe you could be having like mineral deficiencies in your body that you don't even know about, and that could lead to problems. But it's mainly the bones, it's the teeth, because those are also made of minerals, and then it's also the feet in Vedic astrology. Now, I don't know about you all, but for me, since the beginning of the year, and especially this past month, I mean, no, April has not started for very long, but especially the past month, roughly, I've had problems with my teeth, especially more than usual, and then I also have problems with my back. I'm actually going to go see an orthopedics, not surgeon. Yeah, he is an orthopedic surgeon, but hopefully I won't have to have surgery tomorrow. Yeah, I have an appointment. But in any case, for me personally, again, Saturn is actually influencing multiple planets in my horoscope, and I'm also going through a certain dasha that is ruled by Saturn as well. Anyway, so the more Saturn impacts you, the more you might have health problems connected to these things. But you also have to look at what signs are going on there. Now, generally, you want to look for conjunctions are the strongest. I would not particularly look at the special aspect here when it comes to medical astrology. Maybe, you know, if nothing else would check out, maybe I would also check the special aspects, which are the 3rd, the 7th, and the 10th placements from Saturn. But mainly I look at conjunction. And then you also want to look at what houses the planets that are conjunct Saturn rule. For instance, in my case, Saturn conjuncts the ruler of my ascendant, right? So the ascendant is the entire body. And guess what? I have problems with my spine right now. I mean, to be fair, and I will specify this, Saturn doesn't actually create problems. Saturn makes it so that a problem that has been there for a long time now comes to the forefront, because Saturn wants you to get things fixed, but it's still important for you to take into account that things might go bad. And again, I am referring here more specifically in this video to medical astrology, but it could be referring to other things as well, because Saturn doesn't just rule, you know, the bones and the teeth and the feet. You know, it rules other things as well. But when it comes to your health, going back to the idea, so you need to think of Saturn as kind of like this, you know, judge. This is also why Saturn is, rules government, it rules legal systems to some extent. And basically, the way that Saturn works is anything that hasn't been properly done in your life is now going to crack when Saturn touches that particular area. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you've had problems with one of your arms. Just a simple example, let's say. And maybe you've had a problem that you thought was minor, and you've had this problem, let's say, for a few years, and you have neglected it, right? Maybe you never went to see a specialist about it. Maybe you kind of saw, you know, your GP about it, and the GP didn't know much about it and just gave you some over-the-counter medication. And for the past, let's say, several years, you were able to just get by with over-the-counter medication. Let's say this was a problem that would resurface every now and then, so it wasn't like a chronic issue, and you didn't pay too much attention to it, right? And you were able to, again, just handle it with over-the-counter medication. And now what happens is, let's say that Saturn transits through your 3rd house, or in conjunction to the 3rd house Lord. What's going to happen is this problem is now going to be impossible for you to ignore, because if you have had some underlying condition there that should have been treated a long time ago, Saturn is going to make it become chronic, right? So instead of getting occasional pain, you're going to get daily pain. Now it's going to be impossible for you to ignore the fact that there's something wrong with your arm. This is an example, but this could apply to different things depending on what Saturn touches. Just to give an example, like for instance, in my case, I knew that I had problems, for instance, with a certain problem with my foot and then a problem with my back for about 4 years. But initially I was told that it wasn't a very serious problem. My GP was kind of like, you know, lax about it. She didn't really do her job, if I'm going to be very fair here. As in, she didn't push for further investigations, even though it would have been a good idea. And eventually the problem became chronic, and a few months ago I started having some pretty serious problems and then ended up having to see an orthopedic surgeon. And it's a good thing that I did, because part of the problem is now solved. Now, this is what I'm trying to say. It's not like Saturn is purely evil. and just want you to suffer. It's like bringing things to the forefront that you have ignored and that have to get done, basically, that you have to, and if something hasn't been done thoroughly, Saturn is going to push you to redo the whole thing. So yeah, like this is pretty much the main thing that I wanted to say. And especially since, like, this is also yesterday, this is why I also wanted to do this video today, because also I'm in between dentist appointments and I can use my jaw, because yesterday I was in pain the whole day. Yesterday evening, I went to my regular X-ray center, the one where I have been multiple times in the past, to get an X-ray on my tooth because I'm getting a root canal. Like, and what shocked me was I've never seen that room so packed as it was last night. Like, yesterday evening, sorry, it wasn't last night. As in, there were loads of people in the waiting room waiting to get their dental X-rays. That already was kind of like, that was another moment where I was like, oh my God, I need to talk about this, because like something is going on. And like I was also last week I was in the pharmacy, like I said, and I heard two people in front of me asking about sleeping aids, over-the-counter sleeping aids, right? So the sleep issue, I would say, it actually could also be connected purely to Shatabhisha, because Saturn in itself rules night things that are in the dark, right, that are under the ground and all this stuff. So that in itself could connect to sleeping problems. But I would say it's also connected to the fact that Aquarius and Saturn transiting through Aquarius affects the 12th from the 12th, which means your ability to get a good sleep, right? Because the 12th house is the house of sleep. The 12th from the 12th would imply loss of sleep, basically. Or some kind of problems, frustrations with sleep, and that was also something that I experienced and I have experienced for a long time. But again, with respect to sleep issues, I've had sleep issues for like the past decade, let's say, but now in the past roughly 6 months, they have become impossible to ignore, like caused me a lot of suffering, and ended up, I had to go take basically psychiatric medication like Xanax and SSRIs, which I eventually stopped taking the SSRIs after 4 months, and now I'm trying to slowly taper off the Xanax, and it's a nightmare. But basically this has been like, because I reached a point where I literally couldn't sleep anymore at all. Like I would wake up, several times per night and have nightmares every night, sorry. So yeah, this is an example of like, and for me personally, again, even when Saturn was going through Capricorn, because for me, these problems started when Saturn were going through Capricorn, it was affecting my health, my health houses in my horoscope. So it was like, Saturn brings things to the forefront that have to be solved. That's what I'm trying to point out. Things that maybe you have been neglecting for a while or you haven't done properly. Now you're going to have the chance to do them properly and actually solve the problem. And that's probably the positive of this transit, is that this is like a clearing out phase. If you especially are personally affected by Saturn transits, you're going to go through a lot of restructuring with respect to those areas, health-wise and in other fields as well, depending on what the houses rule or what the planets rule. So yeah, I have also talked, a little bit about this in each of the videos that I did on every individual ascendant transits for 2023. So I will be linking that playlist in the video description in case you're interested. Ascendant and or moon sign, as I pointed out in those videos. All right, so this is pretty much it. And if you have enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notifications bell to see when I will post a new video. Also, check out the video description. I will leave my contact information there in case you're interested in getting a personal consultation. And also, if you're interested in finding out more about my memberships, more information in the video description. Also, last but not least, if you're interested in tarot, I will link my tarot channel in the video description as well as in the pinned comment. You can go ahead and check it out, maybe subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.